Welcome to Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup. I'm your host, Jason Bland, and tonight we have guest Anne Marie Hoff. She is a pet communicator, medium, and a soul coach. We're going to talk about probably a lot of topics in the paranormal realm when we get her on later in the show, usually after our first commercial break. That's when we'll bring her on. And of course, what we do every Sunday night is the World Wide Web of Weird, and there is a lot of weirdness to talk about tonight on that. And we will have calls into the show after the second commercial break, and we'll give out those phone lines tonight. All right, guys, let's get rolling into the show. Welcome to another night of Paranormal Soup, and as I said before, I'm your host, Jason Bland. Tonight we got some panel members with us. As usual, my beautiful co-host, Jamie D, is with us. How you doing tonight, Jamie?
Doing great. I'm really excited about tonight and hearing about what she's got to say about the pet psychics.
Well, yeah, I'd be interested to hear what she has to say about your kitty situation before the show. We'll get into that later. Oh, yeah. And, of course, from St. Augustine, Florida, joining us is Rob Autry himself. How you doing tonight, Rob?
Pretty good, pretty good. How's everybody else doing?
Doing great, doing great. Glad to have you on the show, and hope your wife is recovering. From, would you describe it as an alien abduction or something like that?
It's been a rough week or two.
It was her gallbladder that did it?
Yeah.
Oh man, I've seen it. My mom had that problem. It's awful. That is awful. And I've had a couple friends that've had their gallbladder removed. It's not fun. And also joining us tonight is a new Paranormal Soup team member is Jamie Havocan. He said his hair didn't look good tonight, so he's joining us by audio only. It was last minute, but we got him on. Are you there with us, Jamie? It's another Jamie.
Yeah, I'm here, and I've actually had my gallbladder out. It's no fun, but
not at all.
I didn't go on video. But yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, and tonight's show is going to be interesting. Pet psychics, because I had a dog that passed, and I know she hung around for a while.
Oh yeah, I've had that experience with a cat for sure. Patches, I miss you, Patches. All right, guys, let's do what we do every Sunday night: is the World Wide Web of Weird. Tonight on the World Wide Web of Weird, this first one I've been wanting to talk about all week because we've talked about it on the show before, but this comes from KIRO7.com. Woman says her Amazon device recorded private conversation, sent it out to a random contact. Alexa is listening to you. For people listening on Late Night in the Midlands Radio Network, we are also a webcast. You can watch it at Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup, where we show videos and pictures. You can always watch it later if you want seconds of the show. It's posted up on our Facebook page. We also have a YouTube library. Just look up Paranormal Soup. I have trouble lately getting videos to work on their last episode didn't go, so it's not always the best, but the full show is always on our Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup Facebook page. You definitely can watch them. Always there right after the show. They usually post. All right, so our first article, woman says her Amazon device recorded conversation, sent it out to random contact. A Portland family contacted Amazon to investigate after they say a private conversation in their home was recorded by Amazon's Alexa. Bad Alexa. The voice-controlled smart speaker, not so smart, and that recorded audio was sent to the phone of a random person person in Seattle who was in the family's contact list. My husband and I would joke and say, I bet these devices are listening to what we were saying. You know, everybody's saying that joke right now, said Danielle, who did not want us to use her last name. All right. So every room in her home was wired with Amazon devices to control her home's heat, lights, and security system. But Danielle said 2 weeks ago, their love of Alexa changed with an alarming phone call. The person on the other line said, unplug your Alexa device right now. She said, you're being hacked. That person was one of her husband's employees calling from Seattle. We unplugged all of them, and he proceeded to tell us that he had received an audio file of recordings from inside our house. She said, at first, my husband was like, no, you didn't. And the recipient of the message said, you sat there talking about hardwood floors. And we said, oh, gosh, you really did hear us. Danielle listened to the conversation when it was sent back to her, and she couldn't believe someone 176 miles away heard it, too. I felt invaded, she said, a total privacy invasion. Immediately, I said, I'm never plugging the device in again because I can't trust it. There's a lot more to this article. I'm not going to read it all. They contacted Amazon, and they want a refund. They don't want it at all. Amazon's like, well, we can turn off the listening features. They investigated it. They say that things they were talking about in their conversation triggered Alexa, and Alexa would say something like, do you want me to contact this person? Obviously, they were talking, and they didn't hear Alexa say it, is what Amazon's saying. And then something else in their conversation, like, what are the odds, triggered it to send that contact. That seems like a lot of random things to happen. That doesn't sound right.
I have Alexa in the room right here with me.
Who you
There's
talking?
always a 20-second delay. Like they record 20 seconds ahead of time to make sure they catch it right. When it first came out, some people got burglarized, and the first thing the cops did was go and they took the whole device. I'm thinking why the device shows up on your app, like everything it says. But no, it keeps a running log of everything.
Yeah.
Hey, Alexa, do you listen to my conversations?
I only send audio back to Amazon when I hear you say the wake word. For more information and to view Amazon's
You didn't even ask
policy notice,
that.
visit the help section of your Alexa app.
There you go.
See, I don't want it in my home. I just don't. From day one when I first heard about it, I was like, no. No way. All right, let's move on because we got a great guest tonight. We want to get to her. This one is from Florida, Rob.
Oh, no.
Of course. Here we go again. Only in Florida. This is from WFTV.com. Holly Hill, Florida. A Little Caesar Pizza employee who admittedly shot an attacker wearing a demon mask is heard on a 9/11 call that was released Tuesday saying, please help me. I think he's dying. He tried to stab me with a pair of scissors. People on Late Night in the Midlands were showing, there's a picture we got up of the mask the assailant wore. And if somebody walked up to you wearing a mask like this, it's like a bloody demonic mask with a wooden plank and hitting you with it. You were armed. That person's going to be dead.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like I said about the clown thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be dead. They're going to be shot dead, and that's what happened here. We're playing their security footage on the right-hand side of the screen there. You can see they're showing the suspect, the deceased suspect, walking up to the Little Caesars, and then there's a video of what happens when the employee walks out, and he gets bashed. You see the guy swinging something at him. I guess it was a wooden plank, but the employee shot him. And the police showed up not long after, but they weren't able to save the assailant's life, and they have no idea why he did it. The masked man, his name is Jesse Coggins, 53, of Greenville, North Carolina, hit Feliciano on the face and shoulder with a wooden post until it broke, and he tried to stab him with scissors, police said. Deputy said Coggins did not have local arrest history, and it's unclear how long he's been in the Volusia County area. I butchered that. Felicino told police he drew his gun and shot the man four to five times at close range, according to the police report. Yeah, you empty that magazine, man. You empty it.
Yep.
I'm serious.
Ask him to put the stick down first.
Nope. The moment they attack you, mask or not, the moment somebody attacks you with a wooden plank and starts hitting you with it or try to stab you with scissors and you're armed, they're dead.
Yeah.
That's it. You don't have to mess around. You don't have to put your life any more jeopardy. That's the point of the gun, and you're going to use it. And you're going to empty the magazine because you're shooting to kill. You're not trying to kneecap them.
Wound them.
I'm sorry if people don't like that, but that's the truth. It saved this guy's life probably, most likely. Yep. All right, let's move on. It's scary, though. What is going on in the world? We got guys running around with demon masks deciding to go nuts, and they don't even know why he was in that town. I mean, what was he trying to do? I mean, he's a Little Caesars plate. Like, he's going to have that much cash on. Maybe he thought he had a night deposit, but why travel across multiple states to go attack some poor Little Caesars delivery guy?
That's why
Maybe.
criminal psychology is so intriguing.
I don't know. All right, let's move on. All right, number 3 here. This is interesting. This is a ghost photo. This is from express.co.uk. Terrified mother photographs ghost lurking behind her son in shocking picture. It's totally the grunge. We were talking about that before the show, me and Jeff. You know, there's this little, you see the boy, and you see this little boy's head behind him, all pale and black hair and staring menacingly behind him. And it's like, yeah, I'm just like, yeah, that's what we hear. A mother of 2 was left terrified and unable to sleep after she noticed a ghostly figure in the photograph, and she took of her family playing in the woods. Laura Watson claims the ghost child has been seen just behind her son's shoulder in the harrowing photograph. Laura from Newcastle had been out with her family at Pelsey Wood Park last weekend when she decided to take some of the pictures on her phone for her daughter Charlotte Hill, 15, and son Brian Watson, 9, and cousin Jack, 16. She said it was very unusual and everyone was really freaked out. Me and my daughter couldn't even go to sleep last night because we were so scared. If this is a legit photo, I mean, if they're not faking this, they're not getting anything out of it but a news story and attention to them, yeah, I would be freaked out. I'd be really freaked out if I saw that behind my kid in a picture. You know, I'd be like, getting the salt water out and the crucifix or something. And I'm not even Christian. I that would be freaky. But it looks typical of a shenanigan photo. I don't know. I don't know what to believe on this. I mean, it's generally not a misidentification. I mean, it's definitely a kid behind him, a very pale kid that needs some sunlight. Needs to get out and play more. Obviously, he was scaring families.
They have the same clip art just like that. There's a whole database of these clip arts.
Yeah, I know. That's why I say I don't know. Maybe it's her kids messing with her. But if it's original photo on her phone, I don't know. But the kids don't want to fess up or something. I don't know.
I'd like to see if it was a video.
And it's behind him. It's imposed by. If it was a fake, it's imposed behind him, which can be done easily. But I don't know. It almost looks like there's he's got his hand coming up over his shoulder too. I don't know. It's creepy.
Definitely weird.
All right, let's move on. Like I said, you can check that out at express.co.uk news. All right, moving on. This is from the Mirror. We've been on a lot of Loch Ness stuff lately. This one's interesting because there's a webcam on Loch Ness in a number of different spots, and people can watch these and see if they see anything in the water. This one, Loch Ness monster seen caravanning in the water for 10 minutes, spotter claims. Now, there is a whole 10-minute video you can find on YouTube of this where it goes on for 10 minutes. This webcam seeing something swimming in the water that looks big. Wow, this is really hard. Eon, I can't even get his first name right, but Ofadahagen. Wow, if you saw the spelling of this, had a terrific shock and took a lengthy footage of what he believes was Nessie diving and surfacing. Feature film length video of the Loch Ness monster has been shot by a Nessie watcher from Ireland. The hospital clerical worker Ian O'Fodahagan, I totally butchered that. And here's another one I'll butcher. Dongagul took 10 minutes video from the Loch Ness webcam. Yes, I'm a horrible American. I butcher everything. The creature moves from right to left and swims towards the Urquhart Bay, a favorite haunt of Nessie, and is seen diving and surfacing within the water splashes. The sighting, the second record accepted this year by the official Loch Ness Monster Sighting Register, comes only days before DNA sampling is about to be used to discover previously unrecorded organisms in Loch Ness, which we talked about last week. This is what he said. I just click in now and then for 20 minutes. It's better than watching Coronation Street, he said. I've seen a couple things, so I guess he didn't want to watch the royal wedding. I've seen a couple things over the years, but they have been explained as a boat or something else. I couldn't believe my eyes, he said. I just started recording it on my phone, and I just followed it. That's why it's probably not the greatest footage, because he's trying to record it off his computer screen. It was very unusual. It was certainly something big. It dived down and up again and dived and then disappeared. It was not a boat, not a log. I would say it was Nessie. It's interesting. It's definitely something swimming in the water. I don't think, maybe they say the rotted logs float up and that and come up, but I don't know. It looks like something swimming in the water. And you would think, we got all these cameras and technology. We're going to find Nessie. It would be putting a webcam of surveillance cameras all around it, waiting for her to come up for a breath or something. I don't know.
Let me jump in there.
Yeah.
They have environmental DNA analysts, which can get DNA from footprints, and they're trying to find footprints. They say they come out of water. It's now more than ever we might find proof of it. I don't know.
Yeah, we talked about that last week on the World Wide Web of Weird, and it's interesting that, man, DNA, it's catching serial killers, and it might catch Nessie and Bigfoot. It's never really done much for Bigfoot, though. A lot of people try to get the DNA samples for Bigfoot, and they always say come back as like a bear or something else, and if they don't know what it is, it just comes up, I don't know, and they're like, see, that's Bigfoot, and they're like, no, it doesn't mean it's Bigfoot.
They have gotten DNA evidence, though, of people like breaking in neighbors' houses barefoot. They've been able to get like footprint and DNA just off of that, enough to convict.
Who robs a house barefoot? I mean, what are you thinking? Put on some shoes.
Must be from Florida.
Right? Or they're being polite, and they know that you shouldn't wear shoes in a home. No, okay, let's move on. All right, number 5 here. Here's another good one. This comes from storytender.com. I smell dead people. A psychic coach claims she can sniff out impending death on people close to the grave. And I honestly believe that she can. I do believe that is definitely ability people have. Former secretary turned psychic coach claims she can smell impending death on people close to the grave, but describes her gift as useless because she cannot save them. Arya Kala, 24, claims she first discovered her sixth sense when she was visiting her dying uncle, age 12, and smelled a sickly sweet odor that no one else in her family could pick up. After brushing aside her psychic ability for fear of being different, she this year decided to pursue her calling properly when she grew disillusioned working as a legal secretary in Sydney. Now Ari has waved goodbye to the corporate world by teaching women how to harness their inner psychic powers, but revealed she never tells people when she notices the smell of death on them because it's not her place. And I've known somebody who I don't think he smelled death, but he was able to tell. He said he claimed he knew how people were going to die, or when they're going to die, when it was coming close. But he wouldn't say anything because he could never stop it. So there's no point. There's no use. And all you could do is smell if somebody's going to die. You don't know how they're going to die. It's just that, it's like, there's a lot of fables for, what is that? The wood knocking or the bug. There's a certain bug that shows up, for death. All those things don't tell you how somebody's going to die. Yeah. None of those things are going to tell you how somebody died. Yeah. Yeah. You have pets. Yeah, they say pets. I mean, that's what, pets go, there's certain pets in nursing homes that'll go lay down next to a person and they'll be dead like 3 hours later, like the nurses and that. And this is a story that's happened in numerous places of them using pets like this. They would know when somebody's going to pass by the pet going and sleeping in that room that night.
So if they see that cat in that doorway, they're like, oh, heck no.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk about that tonight with our guest. All right, let's move on. Like I said, you can find that at storytender.com. All right, number 6 is this is an electric cloud UFO RAF. Let me see. I'm pulling it there. It's from the Daily Star. Is this a MOD testing alien technology? Shocking claims as electrical cloud filmed at RAF base. The town is home to the major RAF administration support station, which houses HQ Air Command and the European Air Group. But the camp also used to investigate UFO sightings, which also came with people talking. The reason I want to bring this up, you see the flare-like activity. When they said this is over a military base, what I would be wanting to know, and they don't say anywhere in this article, what I'd be wanting to know, did they find out from the military base if anybody was jumping out of a plane because I've seen it. I've seen very similar footage. It might not come across very well on the webcast here, but I've seen very similar footage of what we're seeing here. This like fiery thing twirling on either a drone that's got like basically sparklers attached to it, like not literally sparklers, but it's like a flare device, or parachuters or hang gliders that have done it, and it's very similar to this. And it being over a military base to me makes it suspect. Because obviously people at the military base are going to be looking up and going, well, what's going on? And, they're going to be wanting to know what it is.
Yeah, that was my main field of study for 10 years. And I've seen the parachute videos. I've seen the drone videos. It almost looked like ball lightning until it started maneuvering on its own. So
right.
It's not like that.
Yeah. Yeah. They're putting up a picture of them using colored flares, like a purple pinkish color flare as an example, but we've shown it on the World Wide Web of Weird, what it looks like, and it looks like this, you know. And this video doesn't. It's from a cell phone, so it's not coming across the best. But all right, let's move on because I want to get to our guests. One last one for the World Wide Web of Weird here. This one really interested me. I'm a big sci-fi fan. I'm a big sci-fi geek. I'm a big Trekkie. And one of the things I always loved about Star Trek Next Generation was the Borg. To me, as a kid, I always imagined that if there was alien life out there, more far advanced, what would happen with their AI? Would it become more advanced? But it would, you know, I'm a big fan of Battlestar Galactica, Terminator, and all that. So my imagination's right up there with this new theory. Alien robots may account for the Fermi paradox. The question of whether we are alone in the universe remains one of the biggest philosophical conundrums of our time. While it seems almost inconceivable that our civilization is alone in the cosmos, the fact still remains that we have yet to see any evidence to the contrary. The Fermi paradox, which highlights the contradiction between the likely existence of extraterrestrial civilizations and the fact that we've still never encountered any, seems to suggest that either there are no aliens out there, or that we have simply never found us, or that we are extremely rare. Now, theoretical physicist Alexander Brzezin, I probably butchered that, from the National Research University of Electronic Technology in Russia, has come up with another possible explanation, one that, in addition to addressing the Fermi paradox, also echoes concerns about dangers of AI research. His theory suggests that a runaway artificial intelligence could potentially become so overwhelmingly unstoppable that it may have already managed to wipe out all intelligent alien life in the cosmos. I think that's a little over. I would, maybe. Nanonite aliens. In the Borg, it was like this nanonites, little nano robots that could infect any living organism and take it over. Cyborg Borg. I always thought that that's a big possibility. Nanonites terrify me. Little microscopic robots. I think that's a bad idea.
They're like the size of like grasshoppers and things.
Yeah, to me, the Star Trek to me nailed it the most with the Borg. Yeah, if there isn't a Borg-like civilization out there eating everything, they're on there. There's got to be somewhere in the galaxy where that's happening, and it's probably not a good thing. And maybe why we shouldn't be sending out signals saying, "Here we are on planet Earth, come eat us." All right, we do need to roll into our show here, though, because we're running over late. I know our guest is expecting my phone call, so I need to get that going. For people watching on Facebook, we play music out to Late Night in the Midlands Radio Network that you cannot hear because Facebook would not like that at all. But we will be back after the commercial break with our guest, Anne-Marie Hoff. And you'll be calling the show after the second commercial break, so don't try calling in now. All right, guys, we'll be back with you in just a few minutes. And also, guys, don't forget, go to Late Night in the Midlands Radio Network, check out the website, donate, subscribe, do what you can to help keep this radio network going. Without you, we wouldn't be here to broadcast these great shows, and we have like 30 hosts on the network, so come check us out at LateNightInTheMidlandsRadioNetwork.com. All right, guys, be back with you in just a few minutes. Tonight on Paranormal Soup, our guest is Anne-Marie Hoff. She is a pet communicator, a medium, a soul coach, author of Animal Lover. We're going to talk about a lot about pets tonight and their relationship to us, especially when it comes on the realm of our own psychic and telepathic abilities with our pets. We will have call-in lines where you can call in. I want you guys to, if you got your own pet experiences and that, to call into the show, but after the second commercial break, last commercial break. And I want to get to our guests, so let's go ahead and roll into the show. Let's see, we should have our guest with us. Are you there with us, Anne?
I'm here.
I am so sorry. We're running a little behind, so I called you a little bit late. I apologize, but I'm glad to have you on the show now.
I'm really happy to be here.
So I give the audience a little bit of a rundown of who you are and what you do.
I am an animal communicator, which means I talk telepathically to animals, and they send me feelings, words, emotions, and pictures. And then I'm also a spiritual medium, so I talk to people and animals on the other side, and I deal with a lot of ghosts because dogs and cats see ghosts. So I don't like to call them ghosts, I usually call them earthbound spirits. And then I also talk to people's angels and guides, so I get information from a third part. If you're looking for a way to figure stuff out in your life, it's always good to get them in the loop because they come up with good ideas that are positive.
Now, doing this work, you used to be in pharmaceuticals. You used to be in a corporate job. What was it that got you into this?
I had chronic pain, and I was being put on medication because I was in the medical field. So they kept throwing more drugs at it. And then I had a drug interaction when I passed out when I was driving. And I realized that I needed to do something or I was going to maybe die from that.
Right.
And I started doing anything weird like Rolfing and acupuncture, and I saw Kahuna. And I took a class with Doreen Virtue on being a medium, thinking, well, I'll learn to meditate there, because I didn't even do that. And what happened is I was the best medium in the class, which kind of really blew me away.
You didn't know you were a medium before then?
No. I am an empath. So what was going on is I was going into hospitals because I was a hospital rep and feeling people that were on the other side in the hospital.
I grew up in a hospital. My mom worked in one for 17 years, and I never liked it. I never liked being there or in there. And I've always felt if I'm psychic, it's definitely along the lines of an empath.
Yeah.
And it's because of that. I actually lived right outside that same hospital, and we had a lot of ghostly activity, and I felt the whole time it was related to the hospital.
How did you grow up in a hospital?
No, well, my mom used to have to take me to work a couple hours before I have to go to school.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, it was especially when I was a little kid when she was single. She'd take me up to there. I just spent a lot of time at that hospital through my childhood, and I always felt so like I'm being watched when I was there.
What my experience has been, there's usually a lot of souls because we always have free will. So when we could die, we can decide if we stay here or we go to heaven. And if it's a sudden death or you've got too many drugs in your system, there's a lot of reasons why people don't lift out of this plane.
Yeah.
But they don't. And then all of a sudden they don't have any energy anymore because the energy that you have comes with your body. So they kind of get in this fugue state where they're trapped here. And there's a lot of those in the hospitals.
I believe it. You know, the weird experience me and my wife had, we lived across the street. Our first apartment was across the street from that same hospital that I spent a lot of time in as a kid.
Oh, that's hysterical.
And the corner of our bedroom pointed right at the hospital. And there was this one night, my wife can testify to this, we saw like this weird glowing mist come through the corner of the room up in the ceiling. And it's like clear, like you could like see the mist faces for me. I'm like, are you seeing this? And my wife's like, yeah. It was such a weird thing. We only stayed there 6 months. I woke up to a woman standing over me telling me to get out. So I got out. But yeah, I've always felt that way. It's funny that you say that about hospitals. I've always felt if there's anywhere their doors are open to the other side, a hospital would be one place for sure to have.
Yeah. Yeah. And luckily I don't see them that often. There's a lot of spirits in hospitals.
Yeah, but you said you're empath. You feel them. So what is it like? What is it like when you're feeling them? What's going on?
The first thing, and I still am not always aware of it, is I will feel how they died. So when I do a session with the client, I check in with my body, and I'll get like a headache, or I'll get something in my solar plexus, and then I have to figure out what it is.
I always thought that was such an awful way I've met many mediums going to the show on many the same experience as you, but I always thought that's the most awful way to get that kind of information. Is you got to feel it. That to me, especially like the painful stuff.
Yeah, and you know the weird thing is, I'll feel it until the client I'm talking to says what it is, and like I'm scared of water. And one time these two people totally hooked with me because they called me to talk about their dogs that were dead. And then it turned out they knew each other from a lost kid group. And people that have lost kids that are on the other side, it pulls a lot more energy.
I can imagine.
And then I was channeling this woman's kid, and I felt like I was drowning, but it wasn't water, and I couldn't figure out what it was, and she wouldn't tell me. And he had cystic fibrosis.
Oh, so he was drowning in his lungs.
Yeah, and that was probably the biggest time I panicked with this.
Oh yeah,
that felt horrible.
I bet.
But I do joke, like, I felt how thousands of people have died now, so.
You'll be ready for anything when your time comes, right? Because it comes for us all at some point. It comes for us all. You know,
it has to be anticlimactic.
Right. It's like, oh yeah, I know what this is like. So, you know, doing this, you know, having these experiences, working in it, so you know, and you went to this class, you discover you're psychic. It's still a big step. You know, somebody could tell me right now, oh well, look, you just read me. You're a total psychic. Doesn't mean I'm going to quit my job and go do it. What was the real push for you to like? I'm going to do this for a living.
Well, there were two things, and I was kind of a reluctant. Like, I couldn't stay just in medicine anymore. I kept getting information on people that was profound and really didn't fit in with talking to people in the medical profession. And it was life-changing information. And I've never done anything that helped people more. Because I think we're really hungry for that connection with our soul and with the universe. And most people don't have access to it. I was in line.
I think most people are losing access to it to their cell phone. I'm guilty of it. I know.
I was in line at the bank once, and I got this message for the woman behind me that her ex-husband was going to maybe shoot the kids that weekend because they were going hunting. And I had to tell her that, and she like totally freaked out.
Oh my God! You're saying that he was going to shoot his kids?
Yes, he was going. Yeah, he was taking his two boys with him that were her sons, and they might get hurt that weekend because he was suicidal.
Oh my God!
And I'm telling her this, and her eyes are like huge because she's like, I don't believe in this. But I knew all this stuff that she couldn't really not listen to me.
Wow.
So that's the kind of thing that, you know, you just don't fit into normal life anymore.
No, I mean, did you know that? I have to ask. I mean, because one of the things I've always said, like I've had my own psychic experiences, and I've had psychics tell me you could do this. Is like I don't know how I would like approach a stranger with that kind of message. Was she a stranger? Did you know her? Or
I didn't know her.
Oh my God! See, it'd be hard enough for me to even say it to somebody I know. Like, but I mean, to me, I guess it's you're for sure. You know, it's a message. You're confident in yourself, so you're going to do it. You're going to tell them. I'd still feel weird.
Well, and that's part like. If you start doing this work, you feel a little bit of a different feel to every thought you have. And the thoughts that come from spirit is stuff I don't know anything about.
Right. Like, why would this be in my head?
Mine. Yeah, it's not mine. So I know that it's outside of me. And then I guess the fact that I worked trying to sell medicine to doctors for 25 years, I pretty much know how to talk to anybody.
True.
You know, so, I mean, because none of them were really happy to see you half the time.
Were you a drug rep?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. So, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you know, so I'm still interested in this story you told us here because, I mean, that's incredible. To say that to a stranger. Did you hear any? Did you get any contact with her afterwards, or find any outcome to that?
I did a couple of sessions with her afterwards. She didn't let the kids go with her husband that weekend.
She didn't?
Yeah, she didn't.
Okay, yeah, I think any parent confronted in that situation would be like, you're not taking the kids hunting.
Right. I knew that he was hunting. I knew where they were going. I knew like when. I had a lot of details, which is the other thing that. If you do this work, you have to kind of face your fears about how weird the world is.
Yeah.
Because that wall you have with reality is suddenly gone. And, you know, like I have a UFO outside my window that's been there like 10 years now. I have no idea what it is. But it wasn't there before I started channeling. Like
it appears out your window on a regular basis?
Yeah, it's like a star, only it's a lot bigger and it moves.
Oh, wow. We can get at that to see. I see. We're going to go down a lot of rabbit holes tonight. I
shared that with you because I don't tell many people that.
Well, that's interesting. It is interesting because there was almost a story I had in the World Wide Web Weird, and I kind of skipped it over. It was about a Japanese boy who psychically or telepathically, I should say, contacts UFOs. Do you think maybe telepathically? And I'm being really serious here because I believe this is a possibility that your telepathic abilities might garner their interest. Are you getting any kind of messages? I mean, I know you weren't planning on talking about that, but it's a big interest of mine. I know I've heard this from many people have experienced it.
Again, it's been there 10 years. You kind of get used to it.
Yeah.
But when I talk to other intuitives that channel like beings from other planets and stuff, I always ask. And kind of what I get is it's Palladian, and I am part Palladian or something. So they kind of anchor to me.
I've heard that. I've heard that kind of connection.
May I ask a
Yeah, go ahead,
question
Sharon.
also when you finish this one? I'm very curious.
No, go ahead. I think we covered. I don't want to go down to the. We got a lot more to talk about. We could go down the alien rabbit hole all night.
Yeah,
But,
it's
go
really
ahead,
weird.
Jamie.
When you had, these experiences with seeing the star and everything, when you were developing these different abilities, did you also have presences around you that you could feel yourself communicating with at that same time?
Well, one of the things that happened is I was a medium right away. And then I worked with Doreen Virtue, who talks to angels.
I've heard of her too. She's very well known.
Yeah. And so I went home and I'd meditate 15 minutes a day, and I'd say, I hear my angels loudly and clearly. And then one night, about 3 months into that, I came home and there was a white owl on my carport. And he stared at me over the hood of the car for like 15 minutes and flew up under the roof of the house.
That's
which
very interesting.
there was no place for him to go. He had to have been an interdimensional angel. But after I saw him, I heard angels and guides. So I don't work with people like I used to because I get information from them. So if I have a spiritual question, I really go to them before I go to anybody else now.
You mean like spirits on the other side, just a human soul?
No, these are like this sounds really corny, but Jesus is like one of my main guides.
Well, no, I've heard it. Maybe there's many people that feel they're in tune with Jesus or other deities too. It's not unusual for people to have that kind of connection. That are in this field. I've heard of that many times. What I'm interested in is the owl thing you said, though. Again, I don't want to go down the alien thing, but when you say the owl, that is a lot of times that people say that there's a screen memory aliens use, and they use the owl. Just I have to point that out when you said that, and he's talking about the UFO. Those two things, I can't help but make that connection.
Huh. Yeah, there's a lot to it that you just don't know. I mean, when you start working with this stuff, you realize that when I did research in college, they always said that it was good research if you have two questions where one used to be. And that's kind of where I'm at with a lot of this stuff but I was told by my guides, I don't have time to investigate it. Like I could either do it or I could study it, but I don't have time in this lifetime to do both.
Yeah, not enough time.
Yeah. So because coming from the medical motto, I want to do like a double-blind study on stuff and like prove some things, but I don't.
Leave it to I guess, more inquiring minds. You got a job to do, I guess.
Right.
So speaking of that job, so what are we talked about you're a pet communicator. I mean, you do readings as a medium. Does it does somebody call you to do a reading for their pet, or does it all just kind of flow into one? You're going to do what's going on in their life, and you're going to talk about their pets. Is it all kind of one big thing?
It usually, like, my main money I make comes from spiritual coaching, and I don't really advertise that. I usually, when you talk to somebody's pet, they mirror what's going on in your situation. So behavior issues and things like that, it's still usually about the human. And then usually, like dead people, if they have something to say, will really come through no matter what. And I always tell my clients when I start that I am a medium and you may have people on the other side come through. So, yeah, I kind of do a 3-in-1 reading. That's what I do. So, but I see animals more almost as like our soul helpers.
Right. Well, that's my question for you. Is how do animals, what is the importance of their in their lives? Because I know they are important. I feel like, I know, for instance, my first real cat was named Patches. I love you, Patches. And she passed away, and it was like 6 months later in June. I swear it was like the 6 Bulls championship. It was like all these things. This cat shows up and looks a lot like our old cat, right when we really needed her. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And she came a part of our life. She passed away too. And and I actually saw her. I saw her spirit. Well, no, never mind. I saw Patches' spirit. They look so much alike, I forget which one I saw, but I saw Patches when she had passed. But I felt that, there's something that, like, either Patches, because I saw Patches' spirit not long after she passed, is like Patches brought that cat to us. Like, she went and found a stray cat that looked just like her just to fill that void.
Well, and they reincarnate.
I don't think she could reincarnate because it was only 6 months and this cat was too old.
Okay.
So I thought about
that. The other thing
that.
that happens with cats, number one, cats have different rules. Cats, when I started, I did a lot of work, Yappy Hours Humane Society, and just read thousands of dogs because I wanted to make sure I could do it. And then I put an ad in Cat Fancy and started getting all these cat clients. And cats are totally different than dogs. They will get angry, they'll get pissed off, they'll get even, and they do walk-ins. So, and they don't care if they live or die. They tell me it's like walking from the kitchen to the living room. So you'll get a lot of cats that disappear, and like I'll look for a cat and they'll be like 10 miles from home, and they're like, I really just want to like die and come back because that's too far to walk.
Oh, don't say that to Jamie. Before the show, Jamie wasn't sure she was going to come out. She was so upset. She loves her cat so much. They are her babies. And one of them, how long was your cat missing?
Since this morning.
And she was freaking out.
Jamie, give me a name.
She's an indoor cat, and
you found her, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we found her eventually. I said a prayer to my dad. I actually asked him if he could just to ease my mind, just make her just appear. If she could just walk, show me she's okay. I was afraid she got stuck somewhere maybe, and was suffering. So that's why I was so worried. Within 5 minutes, she finally showed up.
In my book, in the back, I have an appendix with stuff to do. And one of the things I have in there is calling a pet home. And it's a way that you sit and center yourself, and then you send vibrations out over, so the cat can grab onto that and follow it back. And the other, I was like 100% in lost pets for years. And then I started getting pets that were stolen. And
well, this is an indoor cat.
She found a good hiding spot.
Those are more vulnerable.
This cat never goes outside. Every day she eats I have 9 rescues. Every day it's like clockwork, the same exact thing. And all of a sudden it was like she was nowhere to be found, didn't come out. None of the cats were. It was just really odd.
Yeah, that's when I started thinking they're locked up somewhere. So so one of the reasons you can find lost pets is at the vibrational level, you're attached to what you love. And so you can call them and they will hear it and you're connected. There's no distance in that realm. And so you can kind of check. There's a guy at Harvard that did a study on how dogs know when their owners are coming home, Richard Sheldrake, and he looked at everything, like sound of car, time of day, what shoes you were wearing. And the only thing that was significant is when the owner thought of going home, the dog would go to the door. And so they've kind of proven dogs are telepathic.
Yeah, I believe it. I honestly totally believe that.
I think the cats are telepathic. I've caught things between the father and son to where I swear they read each other's minds, and I control, like if I'm stressed, I feel they can read my own minds, especially when they look into your eyes. It's almost like the owls, but they look into your eyes a certain way.
Well, and the other thing I find, sometimes guides will come into cats because our guides have to sit there and watch us do all this stuff because they can't interfere with free will. And so they can come into a cat body and not make a long-term time commitment, but they can ground you when they're in a cat by purring. And so that happens too. I found
And I think Daybug is a guide cat.
Yeah.
For sure.
I found really, really spiritual animals, guides in cats sometimes. And my belief, and I talk about this in my book, is every animal comes to you with a purpose. And then dogs like a job. So if you don't give them a job, they kind of create their own. And usually that's what causes a lot of bad behavior.
Oh, I got Yeah, I probably should have given my dogs a lot more. They've given me a job cleaning up after them. They're getting old, though. Well, yeah, I want to say this. You say that how the spirits. I don't like to try to get into like my own like psychic experiences and stuff. But one of the things I've talked over years with my wife is I do see auras around people, and I do see like these little bluish like lights that'll come out of people's heads, and I'll see them fly into my pets.
Yeah, like the pets' heads, like they go in and out, almost like you're seeing their angels.
So when you
I see your angels.
That's what I've always wondered about that.
I've never seen that. Wow.
Somebody told me once, a medium said, when I said, what is that I see, these blue lights and stuff like that, she goes, that's a rare gift that you've been given to
I've
see
never
spirit.
heard anybody say that till you just said that, Jason.
Well, I don't
Jeff
like to
hears
talk
me
about it
say
too much.
all the time, because it's like, oh, look, you've got 2 angels, and oh, I see your angels.
So I didn't even know. See, me and Jamie never talked about that. All these, 3 years, we never told each other that. Well, that we both see that.
One of the things that I learned early on is basically like angels and guides are at a vibrational level. Like a radio station, it goes out. So that's how Jesus or Archangel Michael can be with like 200 people at once. And they're also a vibrational color. So like Jesus is that medium blue, and then Archangel Michael is a turquoise blue, and Archangel Raphael is an emerald green. So it's interesting because they are colors. And when you say blue, I think of Jesus or Archangel Michael, because those are those
right
vibrational energies.
It makes sense. You people are like, you got to think of an entity if they're real. I'm a Gnostic. I'll just put that right out there. So I question everything. I'm not an atheist. I'm open to the possibilities. But you got to wonder if there's a deity, a God, Jesus, Angel Michael. There's a lot of people calling on him. How do they manage that? They definitely have to be otherworldly to manage that.
And that's how it's a vibration.
Yeah, I always wondered.
Like Jesus is basically Christ consciousness. So if I get somebody that's like really angry because they got killed or something, I'll call Jesus in because they can't stay angry in his presence.
Oh, that makes sense.
So you kind of work with them. Most people have 30 to 40 guides. There's a big, and I use the saints a lot. I don't admit that much either, but the saints are real, and it doesn't seem like they're as busy as the angels. So you get stuff done fast by them.
I have to ask you, since you call the saints, what was your religious background before you delved into this?
My background's Presbyterian, and I'm still probably would consider myself Presbyterian, but I kind of consider myself a mystic because I've done a lot of Sufi stuff, and I like Ram Dass with the Buddhism. I believe that there's many paths up the mountain, and
many doors of the Dharma.
Right. And we live in an amazing time because all holy books are available to everybody.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm a believer. I'm a believer. I'm open to a lot. I just don't like to subscribe to one belief system. That's how I am.
Well, that sounds like you're a mystic too.
Yeah. I guess that would be a good term. I like that. Mystic.
Yeah. And then there's a book called Path to Self-Enlightenment where the woman that channeled Emmanuel, Kat Rodegast, when I started channeling, I talked to her. She used to do a conference down here. And she said the thing that saved her life was the Pathwork books. So I thought I could just find them, and I couldn't. And then my angels used to leave books for me at the corner of the bookstore at the used bookstore, and I picked them up one day. And the Path to Self-Enlightenment was in there, and it was a book Pat had talked about. And in there, they talk about the journey you make to really finding God within. And they say there's a part where you're agnostic. You almost have to pass through that.
I don't know if I passed through it yet. I don't know. I don't know. I'm still a questioner. There's still doubt in my mind over things. I'm always a questioner. I could be wrong. I'm one of those first people to say I could be wrong about anything. We could be living in a matrix, a computer simulated program. I could buy that. I'm saying I'm just open to a lot of different ideas. I believe they all have merit. That's just how I am. I could not settle. Even on when you say I'm a mystic, I could see that. But again, I would question that even. Well, I'm the constant questioner.
Well, and like the best thing Jesus said, all I can do, you can do and more. He was supposed to be like the baseline. You know, we have everything Jesus had. We can do it. We just don't realize it.
Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of Star Wars. Yes, I know. I've said it many times on the show. I guess the closest thing to my belief system is the Force. I believe we have the potential to tap into that Force and do things that would be like what you see Jedi doing. I believe in that possibility. But at the same time, am I able to move stuff in my mind? No. Mm-mm.
It's pretty easy. I can warp time, and that's pretty easy.
Oh, like speed it up, slow it down?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my wife should be in on this conversation. We used to do that on road trips. We'd see if we could make it faster to a location by not looking at the clock.
Yeah, you can't look at the clock when you warp time.
And we would warp time.
Yeah.
I swear to God, we'd get places a lot way faster. It tells you how many miles it should take you to get there and how many hours, and we would beat it by like half an hour. I remember an hour once, so we shouldn't have gotten there when we did.
Yeah, what you do is you say, I'm going to be here at this time, and it doesn't matter. I've made like a 45-minute drive in 2 minutes.
Well, we are at the bottom of the hour. I do want to go to our last commercial break.
I'm sorry, we're talking about so many different things.
I know this is why the show. People, I've had people critics of the show. I get it. You got, oh my God, you guys are going down so many different paths. You're all over the place. It's called Paranormal Soup, people. This is just it's people sitting down talking about all kinds of things. This is not a structured interview. I don't do it that way. I like to just conversate like I would with meeting a new person. I met you tonight, Ann. And we're talking about all things weird, and we're going to go down a lot of different paths. But when we come back from commercial break, we will take phone calls, and you can take us down whatever path you want, callers. Just call into the show. We'll give out those lines. Don't call yet if you know them already. Don't call yet. But we will give out those phone lines after we come back from the commercial break. For people watching on Facebook, we do play music out to Late Night in the Midlands. Not that music. We do play music out to Late Night in the Midlands Radio Network that you cannot hear on Facebook for good reason, because Facebook don't like that. So if you want to check it out, go to LateNightInTheMidlandsRadioNetwork.com, subscribe, donate, do what you can to help keep this network going. If you go listen on there, we got a Discord chat room. You can send me a message on there if you got a question, if you can't call in. All right, guys, when we come back, we'll be talking with our guest, Anne Marie Hoff, about her pet communications to the other side. All right, guys, be with you in a few minutes. Tonight on Paranormal Soup, our guest is Anne Marie Hoff, author of Animal Lover. She is a pet communicator, a medium, a soul coach. We're going down a lot of different topics tonight. This Paranormal Soup. This is how we roll. Because Anne has a lot of experiences. Not everything's just one thing in the paranormal. Or she only communicates with spirits. No, she communicates with the afterlife. She communicates maybe with aliens. She's got a ship outside her window. I've heard of people that have telepathic abilities at some point experiencing the alien effect. So I can't help but go down that topic. We do have call-in lines tonight. I am going to try something new. Usually when I have a guest on my phone line, I don't have the other phone line available. Well, I'm trying it out. I think I got it set up where I can do the phone line. So there's the Skype IDs. There's Soup Live Chat 800 Live Chat. That's a video Skype line. Sometimes we have problems with that. Might work. There's the audio only Skype line. That's the main way to call. It's OOJBlandOO or OOJBLANDOO. Or we can try the phone number tonight. We'll see if it works. 219-230-4444. That's 219-230-4444. Hopefully that works. I can only take one phone call at a time on the audio-only Skype and the phone line. So if I hang up on you, just try to call back. All right, let's get back to our guest. You still there with us, Anne?
I'm here.
Yes, we're going down a lot of rabbit holes tonight. It's hard for we only have a 2-hour show, and I can't help myself but delve down some of them because your experiences are are a variety of different topics we could cover that you've had, but. For you, as you're doing this as a profession, giving readings to people, how does that actually, you give us a little bit of idea, but what it just generally, how does that reading start, or where do you go with somebody when they're sitting down with you, or over the phone? I'm guessing.
Right. Usually, what I do is I have them make a list of questions and people they want to talk to on the other side, and that helps the information come through faster. So, what I usually do is I see if the angels have anything to say to them when we first start, or if there's somebody waiting to talk to them. And we do that. And a lot of times, just the questions that they have will be covered before they even ask any of them.
Because you're already are ready. Or they're already giving you the information.
Yeah, the guides are ready. So that's interesting. And I like working with, like, I did 7 years of therapy, and, it was slow going. And when you work with your angels, they know somebody's intent. They know whether or not somebody's lying to you. They know whether or not something's going to work out. They can't interfere with free will, but they will give you the odds on things.
An instinct, kind of.
Yeah.
Now, for tonight, if people do want to call in, you will do like what I want to say on my end, you do a mini reading because we don't want to take up the whole show for that. But you would give some information for some people, or try to, if they did call in.
Right. If they have a question, I can answer a question, or I can talk to an animal.
Okay. All right, definitely. I would be interested to know, too, if you do pick up anything on Jamie's cat, why he went. Jamie, you said he never hides like this. This is like a first. That's why you kind of panic.
Right.
Can you give Jamie any insight of why her cat would just suddenly, I'm deciding I'm going to hide all day long and make Mama freak out?
I need his name.
Her name is Night Night.
Night Night.
Because her brother is Day. He's orange, she's dark. Night and Day, their personalities. They've all been acting pretty strange, though, the past few weeks with kind of this shift and, everything going on.
I get there's a shift in energy that's really bothering them.
Yeah, and I'm feeling that one cat actually looks pretty depressed. And she never does what she does, so I just figured today, maybe she was hiding from the energy or whatever's going on. But when she just didn't come out, even when I was like hysterically calling for her, I started worrying, well, what if she got stuck somewhere?
She's not the most, what do I want to say? She's not the boldest cat.
No.
She doesn't like walking past some of the other cats. So that hindered her in some ways, she's saying. She loves the fact that she's getting to talk to you. This is like really, really great. And she's showing me like rubbing up against your leg. She's very thankful she's home.
Mm-hmm. Very.
And I get she was like hiding in a specific place. So she felt that she was safe where she was.
And we don't know where that spot is. We tore the house apart. It seems
like it's under stairs or something. It's like I see cement and I see wood. Like maybe under a foundation.
Well, we're tearing up our hallway right now. It's all concrete with the wood stacked up to do the wood paneling.
So I'm not giving you a lot of information then.
No, but it sounds pretty right on to where she probably came from, at least. Which area?
Right. That makes sense, because it doesn't really feel like the stairs. When I say something out loud, I get confirmation or not from the angels. And it wasn't staircases, but it looks like a place like that with wood. What I get is there was some type of animal, probably maybe even another cat, that she ran past, and it wasn't that the cat did anything. She was just kind of nervous. And then she decided to dig in deep.
And cats will do that.
Mm-hmm. Especially spooky in the hallway.
Right. And the tearing, the tearing up of the cats, there's a saying that dogs belong to a person and cats belong to a place. And changing a cat's environment, like construction and stuff like that, it really kind of puts them on edge.
Oh yeah.
Even moving like a vase or moving just something, they all have to go look at what you just did.
No.
We do have a phone call on the line. This is
Okay.
on the phone line. This is my first time using it on this end of the show, so hopefully this works all right. Do we have our caller there? Are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here. It's Rhodey.
Hey, Rhodey. There's
How are you?
You're doing good, and there's your little lovable animal in the background.
Yeah, I got two of them here tonight. I got the neighbor's dog too, but can I ask a question or two instead of getting a mini reading? Or
Yeah, whatever you want, Rhodey.
That's what we want.
Oh, hi. Yeah, hi. How are you, ma'am? Can I
Hi.
ask if it's not too personal? What are your personal religious beliefs, like as far as something bigger than ourselves?
My personal religious, I mean, I was raised Presbyterian, so I don't disagree with that. The thing I have a problem with is some of the Bible, because the universe talks in positive vibration. And so any negative, like the Ten Commandments, that isn't the way God talks. But I believe in Jesus.
I agree with you. I think all the three big holy books were none of them written by God. But okay, I just think it's awesome if you saw Jesus. But can I ask you something else? I have a good friend who is also a medium, and you know, you're always hearing when people, the investigators, and oh, it was a demon and it hurt me and this, and I've investigated all over and I've caught things out. I've never seen anything. Nothing's ever happened. But she tells me she's never seen a demon, and I wanted to ask your opinion since you're a fellow medium. Have you ever seen demons? Are they as common as a lot of just people think they are, or what's your experience with that?
One of the things I learned from John Holland is he said, I stand in the light of God and nothing else has anything to do with me. Because if you stare at stuff that is out there, it can attach to you. I don't want to work with demons. I'm really sensitive, so I've worked on a few murders and they've really kind of screwed my body up. And I have seen things that you might refer to as demons. I know the woman on the Dead File refers to some of the stuff she sees as demons. I think there's a lot of energy out there that isn't human at times.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
You're not necessarily. Yeah, that did. And I have one last question, real quick, Jason. You're so awesome,
that's
Jason.
fine.
You're saying if the people write down the questions, that you're able, the people on the other side can step forward more quickly. Do you find, or have you ever done where the people bring a picture of the person, their loved one that's passed on, to see if you can get a quicker or better connection with the deceased?
You know, there's different ways to do this stuff. There's a woman in Florida, Doreen Virtue, that uses the psychometry where she holds an item for people. And a lot of people work that way. I work with the name. When I do like events where I'm reading pets all day, I will have a picture, because that helps. A lot of times when people come forward, they've got all their live pets, all their dead pets. So there's like 30 pets around them. And then when I'm doing an event and I have it cleared, and there's like, it ends up being a lot of spirit energy around. So I do like to use a picture in that regard, and I can use a picture with somebody that was alive too. The interesting thing is I will see them, and they could come through the way they are, that they want to come through. You know, they could come through as an older woman, or they could come through when they're 20. So usually they come through the way the person that is getting the reading remembers them.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
But I had one guy, it was weird. I had one guy say that he goes, just think of me as John Forsythe on Dynasty. And the people laughed.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
And he's like, not any show, Dynasty.
Interesting guest, Anne-Marie. And Jason, thank you for taking my call, honey.
Anytime, Rhodey. I love you.
Love you too. Talk again soon.
Thanks, Rhodey.
Have a good night. Tell Katrina
Okay,
I said
thank you,
hello.
ma'am. Okay. I will tell her. Okay, bye.
Bye. Yeah, Rhodey works with a friend of mine, Katrina Cooper, who's a medium and who blew me away the first time I ever met her. So I'm always open to that. Some people, I've worked with investigators like, I don't work with mediums, I don't work with psychics, I don't believe in it. I'm like, you see this incredible stuff, how can you not?
Oh yeah.
And, go ahead, Rob.
We have a question that one of our longtime callers, Zach, wrote in the chat. He's asking this question from chat tonight, and he wants to know what your most memorable case that you have worked on that has involved an animal spirit.
Oh, that's hard to think of. Wow. I mean, in a way, they're all memorable because they're so important to people and they can do such amazing stuff. And nothing is coming to mind except, I guess one of the things is the way that the spirits reincarnate back to people again and again. And so I see that. Like, I've got one client that has a dog, Spike, that's come back to her like 4 or 5 times. And it's just amazing because they won't, it won't just be the body. It'll be like they'll have the same white socks, or they'll have one black whisker, or they'll know how to lay in the same spot that they laid when they were the last body. And it can be 6 or 7 of those things together. And my firm belief now is animals don't live as long as we do. So we get to believe in reincarnation because when we see them, we know them so intimately, we recognize them. And I think that's very profound.
Oh, yeah. I had the first dog I ever had. I didn't have her long. She chewed up all my Star Wars toys. I was like, I don't know. My mom is in the chat room. I have to remind me how old I was. I don't know if I was 4 or 5 or 6. Begged for this dog, got this dog, and then she chewed up all my toys. And then my mom found the dog missing, and she saw me sitting on top of a toy chest. She's like, "Where's the dog?" I'm like, "I don't know." And she could hear the dog crying. I locked him in the toy chest. I think my thought was like, "You want to eat my toys? Here, have them all." And so then the dog had to go because he was also chewing up everything. It was a puppy. And then I got my dog later in life as an adult. I finally wanted a dog again, and I got my first dog as my own owner of a dog. Her name is Bella. And when I picked her out as a puppy, something felt really familiar. And I wonder, because when she was a puppy, I went through it all again. She went and chewed up all my Xbox controllers. Like, she got back at you. Yeah, I wonder, if that was that dog. She had passed away and came back as another dog that I adopted and did it to me again. I still have her. Bella's my baby.
You put your dog on time.
I was a kid. I was a little kid.
Right.
She got me back. She peed all over my toys. All right, we do have another phone call on the line. They've been waiting here. Who do we got on the line?
You've reached the maximum time allowed to make your recording. To review or re-record your message,
what is that?
Press 1. To mark your message.
Oh, it's a message. Oh, see, somebody tried. See, I'm trying a new phone line thing here, and it seems like it immediately hangs up on them. If I call them back, it'll take the call. So if you are trying to call in on the phone line, I will try to catch it. I don't know if I'm missing it or not. The first phone caller, Rhodey, I had to call her back. It immediately didn't connect, but we got the phone line. So you can try it again. Phone line 219-230-4444. I missed somebody. 386 area code, it looked like. Try calling back again. I can try getting it. See, it just said missed call right now. Let me see. Let me try calling this. It's weird. Immediately says missed call. It doesn't want to pick up. It's VIOP calling. New thing tonight. Trying. Because I know so many people can't use Skype.
Oh, you're doing a voiceover?
Oh, it's a VIOP thing, phone app that I'm using. All right, go ahead. Sorry, technical stuff.
So, Jeannie, you're a cat lover, it sounds like.
A little bit, right?
Just a little bit. I'm an animal rescuer, and they've all I've never went to find an animal myself. They've all just come to me, I guess, when I needed them.
I'm also an artist, and I've been doing a series of paintings of the foster kittens I've had.
Oh.
In Day of the Dead style, to raise awareness that animals have souls.
I would love to see your work.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's on the website, and we're going to do a big push for the All Souls Day kittens, because 75% of the cats killed in shelters are kittens.
It kills me. It kills me what we do. I remember finding my father worked as a teenager. He's my stepdad, but he's really my father. He worked as a teenager in a vet clinic, and I remember finding one of his own photo albums, and he had pictures of like the dump bin where they like dumped all the animals. It was like heartbreaking, and I'm like, "How did you do the job?" He's not really couldn't do it.
Well, and the
so
interesting thing is you talk to best friends, you talk to ASPC, and they're making like huge strides with the kill rate. But with kittens, they haven't changed that really at all because they don't have the people to do it. And it's hard to even get figures on it because the government doesn't make them have to publish them. So when I did this project, I'm trying to get kitten kill numbers, and nobody really wants to talk about it.
Yeah,
but you go to your local shelter and you can see what's going on.
Yeah. Well, when you go to a shelter, how is that for you as a communicator?
Oh, I have a hard time. I mean, I can go in there, and I live like 45 minutes away, and I take a bunch of kittens. Like last year, I did 15 foster kittens, and I adopt them out to people that don't have the guts to go into the county shelter. But I can feel the pain of those cats because there is not one place where they can't hear the dogs barking, which is just like hell.
For anybody.
You are an earth angel. I want to cry right now just hearing what you're saying. I love you for that. Thank you so much for that. We need 1 million more people like you.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm helping with this program, with the Day of the Dead Kittens, is if we raise awareness about the fact that we need fosters. See, they don't adopt them out until they're 2 pounds.
Yeah.
And when they're young, they have to feed them every 2 hours, and they just don't have the staff to do that.
I did the foster in Fresno where they provided I gave the home and they would give the food and everything until they were able to be adopted out.
We do have another caller on the line here. This one should work. It's on Skype. Who do we got on the line?
Hi, my name is Jody.
Hi, Jody. Thanks for calling in. You got a question for our guest tonight?
Yeah, my cat Moose died a few weeks ago, and I was wondering if you... Thanks.
The first thing I get on Moose is he wants you to quit crying. He came into your life to make you happy and to make you laugh. And so him leaving and seeing you not do that it just kind of defeats his purpose. And he wants you to know that he is happy in heaven and he's going to come back. And you are worth so much. He was so happy to be your pet guardian that he just wants you to know that you mean so much to the world. And he's going to come back to you as fast as he can, and you deserve to have a cat in your life.
Yeah, I was really connected with him.
Well, I'm so sorry for your loss. I'll never forget both times my parents lost we had Patches and Six, and when Patches went, I had to help bury her, and when Six went, I had to bury her too because my parents were so emotionally wrecked by it they couldn't even bury their cats. And it hurt me too, but I mean it really hurt them. Now they're Shih Tzu owners, and I'm not looking forward to the time when those dogs pass. Well, because it's going to break their heart. It's losing a child. It's very difficult, and I know how much it hurts my mother. I'm about to get teary eyed just thinking about how much it hurts my mother.
Jody, Moose is saying if he was a human, he'd be a stand-up comic. Does that make sense?
Yeah, he was a character.
And he wants you to remember him that way. He wants you to remember all the love he gave you.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
And know that he's still with you. He just doesn't have his body anymore. It was kind of uncomfortable there at the end, so he's taken. This is going to turn out good.
Okay. Yeah, he was pretty sick at the end.
Yeah, he's saying it didn't fit well anymore.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
And I just had somebody else try to call in. I will try to call you back. They've been trying to call in. I'm going to try to call this number again. They keep trying to call in. Thank you so much, Jody. And again, I am so sorry for your loss. But like she said, another pet's going to come into your life.
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
All right. You have a great night.
Appreciate it. You too. Bye.
Bye. Okay, we should have a new caller on. Who do we got on the line here? Hopefully they're coming through. Hello?
Hello?
Hi, who do we got on the line?
It's Debbie.
Hi, Debbie. Thanks for calling in.
Hi,
Hey,
Debbie.
Debbie.
How are you?
Doing good. Do you have a question for our guest or a reading you're wanting?
I guess a reading.
Okay. What do you need from her, Anne?
Well,
Debbie, go ahead.
Go ahead.
You're saying you have a specific question.
Do you have a specific question?
Well, yes. I just kind of started working with the angels. I took a channeling angels course after doing my psychic development and mediumship course. But I'm not like hearing them or anything yet. But I'm working with them as far as trying to heal my body. And I was just wondering if you could get any information on that, and if there's a possible healing coming anytime soon.
Okay, so first of all, they wanted to say that you have to believe in this and you have to get comfortable with it. So a lot of times when I work with people, I have them use a pendulum or I have them use cards, and that's kind of a stepping stone to just hearing them in their head. And then you have to realize that different people receive different ways. So some of us get pictures, some of us get feelings, some of us hear, like I hear the guides all the time now. So that changes things. But I did a pendulum when I was... Go ahead.
I've only gotten clairaudience like twice now, but I'm very clairsentient and claircognizant.
Okay. They're saying you're, and I don't mean to throw this over on you, but they're saying you're standing in the way of the healing. And to say, I am healed versus I need this. So to basically stand in, like the way they tell it to me is you create the room to walk into it.
Okay, so like manifesting it.
Yes. Because everything's vibration, and you create your reality by what you think. And they know it's a physical thing. So they also work with you healing it at night.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
That's when I usually feel like the vibrations of my body raise. Like I feel my legs vibrating.
Right.
I literally
That's what I
feel
see
my
them. They
vibrations.
said Reiki. I feel them doing like some Reiki or something on you at night.
Ooh.
Right. It's amazing.
I have a question after that. I have a question after this on that.
Does that answer?
Literally. Yes. I've just, it's still new to me. I've taken, some of the courses and everything, but just working with them and asking for that healing and envisioning that healing and having it come in is all new to me. And feeling the vibrations, it's so much higher than my own vibration, and I'm working to raise my vibration so that I can, meet closer to theirs. But it's a process.
It's also kind of like there's a part of us that's always with God, and one of the things they say in the path work is God loves us so much He wouldn't force us to be happy. So our default vibration is joy. All this other stuff is like stuff we put on here. And the biggest thing I get to do all day is channel people in heaven because they're so freaking happy. And if you feel that vibration, that is supposed to be our birthright. So it's not raising your vibration, it's kind of shedding stuff.
And getting that state of joy, but because I'm stuck in bed, the things that bring me joy the most are outside, and I can't get outside. So I'm just trying to find things that I can do lying here in bed in pain that will bring me to that joy, and that's where I'm kind of stuck and limited in what I can do that brings me that joy. So I've been trying to sing and play a lot of music and just move around here in bed, but it's not really easy when you're
one of the things that
stuck in bed.
One of the things that pets use a lot, and I've kind of is if you look at every emotion has a vibrational energy, and it has higher or lower, and if you go into laughter, that will skip you up closer to joy. and you attract what
So,
you
like,
vibrate at. So you can't say enough for having comedy and like watching funny movies and stuff. I would really make that a part of your healing process.
that sounds like a good thing I could add to my routine daily. Thank you so much. I really, really
You're welcome, and God bless.
And, thank you. God bless you too. Good night.
Well, thank you so much, David, for calling in.
Okay, thank you.
And
Bye-bye.
take care. Bye. All right. Phone line should be working. It should be working. That was her on the phone, so that was 2 phone calls. So this should be working. Here's another one. We got another phone call on the line. Who do we got on the line? Oh, I know who we got on the line. Hi, Mom.
Hi, hold on. I got to turn the sound off.
It's the first time
I was trying to get that message to you.
First time my mom's ever called into the show. Almost 3 years now.
Hi.
Hi. Do you have a name?
Mom.
My name is Gail.
Yeah.
Or do you want to know the name of the pet? Now, I can't hear Jason because I've got the volume turned down, but no, what I need, the pet I want to ask you about, his name is Merlin. And I was wondering if you can tell me if he's got any messages for me. He's still alive.
He says you get crabby in the morning.
I do? He does.
Yeah.
Maybe Mom, he's reflecting you. Both.
Both. He's not in a good mood and you don't help it. I think, how old is he?
He's 13.
He's starting to feel some like joint pain and aches and pains and stuff in the morning.
Well, anybody, I mean, you can imagine that. Can you tell me anything else?
Well, this is what he wants to say. I mean, that's what he's saying. So he gets crabby in the morning, and then you're crabby, and it's not a pleasant scene in the morning. But he's with you because he loves you, and he still likes and he's better. Once he wakes up and he's just moving around, he likes doing stuff.
Uh-huh.
So it's just like that first little bit.
So he's not experiencing any other pain from anything else?
I think it's just arthritis stuff.
Okay. Well, he's a very sick little dog. He has seizures.
Well, the other thing I feel when I look at him is there's something in the gut.
Huh.
His heart stops.
Interesting.
Yeah, Merlin has had a lot of problems.
No, yeah. I know what you're talking about. It's his, one of his, it's a hormonal thing. He has Cushing's.
Yeah.
I can't think of which gland it is, but that might be what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's why I said he's a very sick little dog.
He made the choice to be with you, and his quality of life is still, for some reason he shows me like he doesn't feel as good in the morning, and then he kind of warms up to it, but he still wants to stay with you. He's not ready to leave at all yet, so don't check him out. Definitely that. And he radiates love too, he's saying, so that's what his purpose is basically.
Wow.
Well, you know what Merlin does?
Like a grouchy little old man.
But Merlin does, though, when he's happy.
I have one other question.
Okay.
Do you sense from either of my animals that there's another presence in my house?
The thing I get is, do you have any of the ashes of your other pets?
No.
But they're buried on the property.
Nothing.
Yeah, I get this almost
they're buried out back.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're saying there's somebody you wouldn't let go of that comes around but tries to be respectful of the new dogs.
Interesting. Okay.
And
okay. Go ahead.
The other thing that can happen is spirits in the area can kind of roam through. Mm-hmm. And I almost get that going on once in a great while too.
Okay.
What I recommend people do.
The previous owner of the house passed away recently, and I never have sensed that my dogs were seeing things, but recently I'm getting that feeling.
They're saying he's back.
So,
Okay.
Oh,
So
well,
when
now you
people
tell me
stay
that
as a
after I
ghost,
mention it.
when people stay as a ghost, they can do one thing. They can be two things. They can be attached to a place or a group of people,
Right.
and go like they'll go between their kids or something. And he's attached to your house somehow.
Yeah.
But he's
that's what I
also
was
going
afraid
to
of.
some friends or like a child or something of his. He's not there all the time.
But you're saying there's something on the property that's his,
Thank
that's
you.
kind of attaching him to it? I'm interested in this. I didn't know about
Well,
this.
it's like, okay, so like, if people have like built a house or they've like added a room on or something.
Oh, there was a whole other section
Oh
of
my
the house.
God, he
yeah.
did.
Yeah.
They have
He
skin
built
in the
house
game,
and
and that
he did
keeps
add
them.
on to it too, and he did a crummy
Yeah,
job.
that keeps them attached to the place.
And my husband found out that he just died. Here's the next thing. He's got the same first name as my husband, and I'm afraid that has something to do with him coming back because he hears the name
Well,
Tom.
you say the name, and the name will call him in.
Oh,
Oh, my goodness. That's creeping me
Yeah.
out. No, my other little Shih Tzu that isn't sick has been acting like he's seeing things that aren't
Well,
there.
one of the things they like, when I first started, I just wanted to do animal communication and not say that I was a woo-woo. But people that have a ghost, you usually kind of can tell you have a ghost. And they're really easy to get rid of. I mean, it's not like you just need to sage the place and set the intent that they can't come in.
Talk to Susan, Mom.
Well, I've had experience with that, so I'll try that. I did that when Jason was little in another place we lived. I told the ghost to leave us alone, and he never bothered us again.
Well, and the other thing, what I like to do, I like to move him onto heaven because then it raises the vibration of the planet. And that would be, if you know his name, we can do that. That would be the best thing to do because then they don't come back either.
His name, I do know his name. I don't know if you want me to say it on air.
Don't say a last name.
No,
Mom.
let's not do it on air.
Well, his first name was Tom.
We know that. That's fine. But we don't want a last name in case there's a family member out there or anything.
Yeah.
There's a very common last name.
But Mom, talk to
Mom's
Susan.
like, I really want to do this.
talk to Susan, my wife, because for the audience knows, of course, my mom knows who my wife is, but because she's warded our place because things seem to follow us home. That's why I want to get back to the Reiki thing here too, because I have a question on that. But thank you.
Oh, Dean
go
thought
ahead.
somebody was here too.
That's right. I forgot you mentioned something about that.
Yes.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. Yeah, what did Dean see? That's my 6-year-old son.
Remember, he just said he wanted to know if we had wards on the house because
that's right.
he saw something in the bathroom when he was in there, and I said no. And he says, "Well, you've got a ghost."
That's my
They just
6-year-old.
said the man is really attached to his handiwork.
It wasn't very handy.
Oh boy, he should be because he didn't do a very good job.
No. All right. Well, thank you, Mom. I love you.
Thank you, Ann, very much.
You're welcome. It's great talking to you.
You too. Bye.
Have a good night. First time in 3 years. Of course, I didn't always have open phone lines, but at least 2 years I've had phone lines. I got my mom to call in. I had a feeling she might call in tonight because this is totally down her path. She's a big animal lover. And like I said, I fear when her animals pass. I want to ask you a question. We had the previous caller mentioned about, and you said they do work on her at night, like Reiki work, the spirits, right? Is what you were saying?
Yes.
There's an experience. I talk about my wife warding the house because of these kind of things happening. We woke up one night to both see a shadowy, and we both felt it was a very feminine-like figure, but you couldn't see any features, just a shadowy figure. And she was standing over me, like waving her arms.
Okay.
Could that have been something like that? Like they're doing some kind of work at me at night?
Well,
it was a really weird experience.
The biggest thing you look for that kind of is like what the vibration is. So if there's like a loving presence, and a lot of times,
I didn't feel negative. I didn't feel negative. No.
Yeah, and so the other thing that I do is I call in a sleep angel because you can leave your body at night and go back to heaven. And so, or you can leave your body and help other people. Like your spirit doesn't need to sleep. So you're kind of vulnerable at night, but it's also like the place that most people feel comfortable talking to their guides because it's not like you're having a conscious, like, breakdown and hearing voices like you're schizophrenic or something.
Right.
So a lot of people will do stuff at night. And if it was a good vibration, I think that's we have a lot of spirit guides, and one of the things I have my clients in my class do is like ask them to introduce themselves. And, I get like Native American spirits. There's a lot of spirit guides that, like, I have a Native American spirit guide, and they do that type of work. So that would be my hit on it with that, is you got different beings that are working with you, and they have different skills. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. I've talked about it on the show. There's one thing I've had in my woman, or I don't want to give too much away, but I feel like there's this one presence. I've had experiences in dreams, yes, but of somebody who's a spirit guide that would have been a human, I'm guessing, at some point.
Right.
Are you able to pick up on other people's spirit guides? Like, just talking to me, are you able to pick up on like a spirit guide I have?
It depends if they want to step forward and what, like, I'm from the Midwest originally, and I, believe it or not, I have Abe Lincoln.
As a spirit guide? That's
yeah,
really weird you say that. I'm going to, really quick, before you go into that, I'm
there
sorry.
There are no coincidences.
They're really, because one of the most memorable, like, you ever have those dreams you wake up from and you're awake, but you're still dreaming, you guess, because of what you see? I woke up one night to Abe Lincoln sitting, I know this is so crazy, I woke up to Abe Lincoln sitting on my bed, and he was there for like 5 seconds and gone, and I was awake. Like, is that like dream sleep? Like rubbing my eyes? Like, why is Abe Lincoln sitting on my bed? I'm not joking. It seriously happened when you said that. It makes me creepy. I get the creepies from that.
I remember talking to him as a kid, and I thought it was just because I was from Illinois, and it was like, he had Land of Lincoln plastered everywhere. Mm-hmm. But now I'm not so sure. When the Iraq War started, he would recite the Gettysburg Address to me all the time. And writing my book, he always gave me a hard time because he wrote the Gettysburg Address in like a train ride. But when he kept coming through with the Gettysburg Address, I was like, God, leave me alone. And I was going through the airport in San Francisco, and there was a U.S. News and World Report, and the cover was the Gettysburg Address, what it means to the Iraq War. And so he wanted that information out.
And he's finding the nearest telephone psychic. You're like a telephone to the other side. So do you think that's why he would like come to you, or just because of the Land of Lincoln?
No, I think I have a deep resonating with Abraham Lincoln because he is a spiritual being.
Well, my wife has an aunt who's collected enormous amounts of Abraham Lincoln memorabilia, artifacts, stuff like that. She's totally obsessed with Abraham Lincoln. And I one day pointed out to her, I go, your son or your oldest son, if you put a beard on him, dude, that guy would be Abraham Lincoln. I'm not joking. She's like, I never thought about that. I'm like, how could you not? You're such an Abraham Lincoln freak. But here, look at your son's face. And now my wife and everybody was like, yeah, oh my God, put a beard on him. He'd be Abraham Lincoln, a hat and everything. It's weird. You wonder, as Abraham Lincoln, you talk about saints and people calling on saints. Do these popular figures in our history, are they like saints too? Like they have that kind of energy?
Oh, yeah. Did you ever watch, if you haven't read American Gods by Neil Gaiman, you should.
I know about I never have. It is one of those things that, like, I will read that one day.
It just came out on Showtime, and I don't know.
I didn't know they made a show.
Yeah, and you can get it on demand.
I'm going to have to see that. I'm going to ruin it for me, though.
It's pretty deep, but that is the premise of that book, is that what we give power to, I mean, that's one reason Jesus has so much juice, is everybody gives him energy.
I've always felt that way about it.
And when, I'm telling you all my weird stuff tonight, you must have something. But when Michael Jackson died, every time I meditated for a long time, he would break in. And everybody was like adoring him so much. He had a lot of energy.
Well, you know who...
And he was interested in the animal stuff with me.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Well, Art Bell just passed. That was a big influence on me and a lot of people. I mean, the guy had 16 million viewers at one time. A big fan base of the paranormal radio. He's the godfather of it.
Yeah.
And now he's passed. You makes me wonder. What has Art got on the other side? Like,
well,
what's that
and I
affect
just
him?
got him saying that he's proud of you. And they brought up. I have a client that I started channeling Ernest Hemingway for him. And I know who Ernest Hemingway was, but I was like saying all this stuff he said and everything. And it was obvious that that was one of his guides. So we do get people that we, you know, it's all about love and being connected.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
they know how hard it is on this side because this is a really dense reality to be in. And so you're supported. The biggest message I get from the guides is we're loved beyond measure, you know, and anything they can do to help us, they will. Art Bell, he's saying he still kept the humor in. I don't know what that means.
Well, I a lot of my influence on this show is from Art Bell, but I think one of my biggest influences from him, how I do my show, is my humor on the show.
Yeah, he's saying it's brilliant. Not to make you have a fat head or anything.
Yeah, well, if I ever got to talk to Art Bell and had him say that, it wouldn't be a big head. It would be just like I'd be in a shock coma for like probably months. Just stay there. Like,
I think that's what I get him saying is it's brilliant, and he's very, very happy that you're carrying on the tradition because this information needs to get out there, and there's not a real soul connection with it happening.
Well,
you know,
if anybody,
he's kind of disappointed in America because there's a lot of
sounds like Art
information
Bell
out there that isn't right, you know,
Yeah.
that's just like made up lies. And then there's this paranormal thing that is very true and very rich, and it's debunked, you know, it's boycotted. It's not considered real.
Oh yeah. Well, I had a teeny, just a tiny little part in it, just a little part, but helping bring really tiny part, but helping bring Heather Wade over, who to us is the what you want to call it. Art Bell gave her his show. You know, he said this is Heather's show now. So
he just said Art Bell loves her.
Oh yeah, well yeah, I believe that 100%. I mean, there's no denying it.
He's talking about himself in like a third person. That's funny.
But you know that you know, just getting to know her a little bit, just messaging and talk to her a little bit, you know, and she's told me some Art Bell stories and stuff like that. You know, it's like I couldn't imagine being that close to somebody that I admired that much. I'd be starstruck, and even starstruck by her. And I'm very proud to just even had a teeny little part in helping bring her to this network. There's a lot of people on this network that have had a lot bigger part in it and done a lot of hard work to bring her here. So Art Bell legacy lives on through all of us, and definitely on L&M with Heather Wade. Shameless plug there for her.
For some reason, he keeps saying you make him nervous somehow.
I make him nervous?
You go too close to the bone or something.
Maybe because I'm riding the lines, the open lines without a dump button. On terrestrial radio, that would make Art Bell nervous.
Right,
that would make Art Bell nervous. It makes me nervous.
Right, he cares for you deeply, and he doesn't want to see you derailed.
Okay, well that scares me more.
That's what I get. I know.
That
do you have a
scares me more.
No pressure, Jason.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I don't know him, but that's what he's saying.
That would be something like that would definitely scare Art Bell, because I know Heather, she refused to open her lines up until she got her dump button working because she knew better. Art taught her way better. I'm a little more risky. Yeah, I'm edgy like that, right? Oh, I'm an idiot probably, but well, that's cool. It would. If I ever got to actually hear Art Bell, if I ever got to talk to him, he had said something like that to me. Like I said, I would have been just blown away. So I hope, I'm a Gnostic. Don't blame me for questioning. I don't know. I believe in you. I believe in your gift. But
I don't care.
That's just
that's the other thing that people, I'm about the message. The message comes through me. If I get attached to whether or not you believe it or whether or not it functions in your life for you, that's where I lose energy.
Oh yeah, I get that.
And I might give somebody, and I do that with some clients. It's like, can't you see this? I'll turn it around another way and try to get the light to go in it another way. And the reality is, if I give you the message, I've done my job. What you do with it, I can't control.
Oh yeah, you have to let go of it. You have your own life to live. But It'd be interesting. I would love to know that Art Bell would have any knowledge of me on the other side. He didn't have knowledge of me on the when he was around. I'm sure of it. I'm small fries, but it'd be awesome to know if he's on the other side. He knows about
he
me.
got a little curmudgeonly.
He did.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure anybody does when they turn when they're start getting their 70s.
Well, and when he says that, he wasn't out looking for new talent the way he was when he was younger. So he didn't really catch you until he's on the other side. But he sees the light that you have coming through now.
Well, I love doing this. I love doing this show.
And you're authentic and you're real, and that shows up as a vibration.
Well, one of the things Art Bell always said is for a host is just be yourself, because if you're not, the audience will know, and
Truth is always stronger than a lie.
Yep. Oh yeah. And I wouldn't. Why? I don't know why anybody would want to fake for 2 or 4 hours being somebody else or putting on a persona. That would just be so tiring. I like just being myself.
It's the same way with readings. Like when I do a conference, probably in 3 days of reading, like 9 hours a day, I'll have one that doesn't go well, and it is so painful that why somebody would do that and didn't have the talent, I have no idea. It's just amazing that people think that we make it up.
Oh, I know. I've doing this show now for 3 years, and I talk to people. I'm pretty open to people about what I do, and I don't hide it. Mm-hmm. And when I talk about having mediums on, they're like, "You really believe in that stuff?" And I'm like, "Yes, I've had more than a few mediums to me prove it. I'm not a gullible person. You heard my mom; she's a tough.
Right.
She's a tough one. She's probably the toughest caller I had tonight on you, but that's where I get it from. Is my mom's a questioner, I'm a questioner. I just don't fall for anything. So we will question. We will put it to the medium. But
the girl that channeled Course in Miracles says she's an agnostic.
But she believes in channeling. See, that's the thing for the Gnosticism.
I don't see how somebody could channel. It's very Christian. I don't see how somebody could be an agnostic and channel Course in Miracles. But that's what she says.
Yeah, well, because she questions the doctrine, the dogma. Most Christians don't believe in channeling.
Yeah, that really hurt. My best friend that was male told me that channeling angels was the word of the devil, and he couldn't let me do this. And I was like, well, that's your opinion. And he's like, no, it's fact. And I'm like, no, it's your fact. So we had to split ways because it wasn't like this was my choice.
Yeah, if he's telling you he thinks it's fact and no ifs, ands, or buts, there's no more much of a conversation more from there you can have.
I know. It's just like, okay. But it hurt,
Yeah.
You have to. Some people, I think, get really afraid of this stuff, and so they don't want to look at it.
It's the fear of the unknown.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. I get that from. I think some of the people that really are against it are some of the people that are most afraid of it. We do have one more caller. I want to squeeze in. I think they're coming on the line. I think I got them. I think. Okay. Who do we got on the line here with us? I hear some rattling.
Hey, this is Jay.
Hi. How are you doing tonight, Jay?
Pretty well. Interesting
Hi,
guest you have on. I mean, I don't know. It just sounds like a bunch of nonsense to me. She doesn't seem genuine. And she talks about positive vibes. I think she's just spreading negativity, being deceitful.
Well, that's your opinion, Jay. I mean, this is exactly what we were just talking about, is people that are against it. You don't believe in mediums at all. You just don't believe in her.
Oh, no. I can't say in general. I just feel maybe your guest tonight maybe isn't as genuine as she represents herself to be.
Well, I will disagree with you, because I was on the phone with her before the show. She's just as she was before the show with me. She seems very genuine, very much what she would believes. But I understand skepticism too, but be nice. Be nice. I ask all my callers,
No,
be nice, be respectful.
I am. I hope I don't come off as being, negative myself, but I mean, it's just too convenient. She's going to contact Art Bell directly and give you all this fantastic information. It's clear she doesn't even know who Art Bell is. I mean, that's just disrespectful, in my opinion, at least. But I won't continue. I don't want to spread negativity myself. But as we all know, karma, hey, you know how that goes. But I enjoy your show. I love it, and I'll continue to listen.
All right, Jay. Well, we get opinions. We get people that call in. It doesn't always agree with the guests. It happens.
Well, and that's a good point with channeling, because I don't have to know somebody to channel them.
You shouldn't. I would think that would be a hard thing to do.
Right, and I have he's right. I have no knowledge of, I don't know who Art Bell is, but that doesn't mean that I can't use his name and call on him.
Yeah. I think that the
I mean, I wouldn't know him any more than I would know, like, your grandmother.
Right. I think that that's another thing that gets people is when somebody channels somebody, they if they don't believe it, they think it's the most atrocious thing you could do, and you can't blame them for thinking that, because it's like, well, how dare you complain? You're talking to this so and so dead person, that especially if you're doing it for family members. But it's their lack of belief in it that's why they get so upset. And I'm a person I've seen it, I've experienced it myself. I've had communications from the other side, so I'm a believer that in the possibility of it. Now, like, to me, it does, saying Art Bell is coming through, that's a hard, like I said, my agnostic mind is like, it's hard for me to believe that. It's not that I think you were lying or anything like that. It's just, it's hard for me to believe that, like, Art Bell wouldn't know who I was, that's just my feeling, it's just how I, my ingrained agnostic questioning.
The other thing that happens go ahead.
Jason, you said you're small fries, but in reality, small fries taste exactly the same as large fries.
Yeah.
The words of wisdom from Rob. Go ahead, Amy.
And what is valuable, what we put emphasis on in this life is not what we put emphasis, what spirit puts emphasis on. Like he said, your light was bright. That has nothing to do with how many people you have watching you or something. That has to do with your authenticity.
Well, thank you.
The other thing I was going to add is when I first started, I thought I was like better maybe than John Holland, because I was getting like a lot more specific information. And then when I started speaking to groups, information got more generic. And spirit really protects privacy.
That I could see that, especially because you got other people listening. So, like tonight, you have people listening. You can't get into detail with people. There's just certain things you can't say because it's private. We only got a few minutes left, so I want to make sure, Ann, you get out. You have the floor here for a minute or two to get out whatever information you want to the audience.
Okay. Well, my website is annhoff.com. That's ANNHOFF. I'm a Midwesterner, so I have a really short name. And I have a book called Animal Lover, The Spiritual Purpose of Pets, which I have a thing in the back that tells you about how to do an appendix that tells you about how to do things with your pets and how to take care of them and kind of how their viewpoints on how they see the world. And I am also doing a art series on Day of the Dead Kittens called All Souls Day Kittens. And if you don't believe in what I do as a medium, you can still look at my art.
I actually got to do that because it sounds really interesting. I'm always interested in mediums and that use their artistic skills, because it's like you feel like you're getting a little bit of a picture of the other side when they have that ability. It's like an extra treat.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Ann, for being on this show.
You're welcome.
Amazing calls tonight. Thanks everybody that called in. Yeah, we get the skeptics that'll call in. As long as they're nice, I will let them say what they got to say. It happens. Not everybody's going to be a believer. I think for people to believe, they have to have the experience. They have to have that experience.
Right. And I understand it because I didn't believe in it before I could do it either. So
I understand the I understand the skepticism.
I totally have been there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I totally understand. Well, thank you, Ann. We'd love to have you back on the show again. We'll have more phone calls, maybe more time next time to take calls if you're interested in coming back
That
on.
sounds good. Maybe we could do a specific thing more then.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for being on. Thank you to everybody who called in. Thank you to my wonderful panel of co-hosts, Jamie D., Rob Autry, Jeffrey Chan. Thank you, guys. Jamie Havocan, I think he had to take off, but thank you for joining us tonight. Remember, guys, check us out on Late Night in the Midlands Radio Network every Sunday night, 10 p.m. to midnight Central Time, 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern. Check us out on Midwest Paranormal Presents, Paranormal Soup's Facebook page. Every Sunday night, guys, check us out. And don't forget, go to Late Night in the Midlands Radio Network. Donate, subscribe, do what you can to keep this great network going. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Oh, and I forgot to look to see who my guest was, and I don't have it here. But I will have it posted soon who our guest is. It'd actually be my birthday. I think it's Sharon Lund.
Hey, when's your birthday?
Right. Yeah, next week's my birthday.
My birthday is next week. My birthday is the Korean Summit.
Oh, wow. So, Gemini? Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. See you next Sunday. Same bad time, same bad channel. Have a great night.